I would love to tell the world why a plane crashes. People want to know, and I'd love to be the one to do that. For the Air Force, I was a trained accident investigator. And then the second part of that is I teach for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I'm a professor for them, and I teach aircraft accident investigation. I have about 5,000 flying hours, and it's in several different types of planes, anything from cargo to trainers to fighters. Have I investigated accidents? Many. Unfortunately, the business that we're in is a dangerous business, and I have been out there many times out in the field investigating aircraft accidents. When planes crash, we want to learn why they crash, and the reason for it is that they don't happen again.
You are watching exclusive footage of passengers being rescued from U.S. Airways Flight 1549. Here to break down today's just miraculous events, we have our resident aviation expert, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Sandy Krigel. Sandy, you have spent many hours in the sky. I'm sure you've probably seen it all. Take us through what happened here today.
Well, Lisa Marie, birds do share the space with us that we fly, and it is not an uncommon thing to happen. I, in my military experience, have had several bird strikes. Nothing as catastrophic as this. This is a huge event to have a bird strike on takeoff and for it to affect the engines. When a bird hits an engine, the engine basically disintegrates, and it could be a catastrophic event.
What did the pilots have to do to land this plane safely?
Well, what happens is once the bird hits the engine and the engines quit, the pilots will start what we call an APU, or an auxiliary power unit. That provides power, electrical power and hydraulic power to actually fly the plane down to the ground to have hydraulics. What the pilot has to do then is keep a good glide path and pick a place to land.
How fast was the plane descending?
It probably was descending at about 1,500 foot per minute. And like I said, the pilot at that point, the procedure is to get some other source of power and then make a decision where to land, but keep the plane coming down so that the airspeed doesn't run out. Then he runs into a very dangerous decision where he has to pick the right attitude to land, because if you come in too fast and you hit the water, the plane would just come apart. Any type of bank that the pilot would have, he'd have to have a steady hand, would cause the plane to cartwheel. Any water landing that's ever been attempted before has ended catastrophically. This was a miracle. As we see, pilot is bringing it down to the runway. His weight is as low as possible. Like I said, the main gear are going to touch down, and he's going to try to use the controls to keep that nose off the runway as long as possible. And then he'll get on the brakes. The key here is to land that plane right on the center line of the runway. If he can put that tire...
There's the gray smoke.
Yep, there's that gray smoke as advertised, and he's just about right on the money with that nose wheel right on the center line of the runway. As that tire burns through, like I said, don't be surprised to see a little bit of spark and flame, and as advertised, there it is. Now the key is just keeping it line, center line of the runway, applying the brakes. The plane now is in the control in the hands of the fire chief. We'll probably see them show up, and once they give the okay, they'll evacuate the passengers, probably bringing stairs to the plane and getting the people out and putting them onto buses.
And just like that, the plane stops.
Yep, applied the brakes, center line of runway. The tire never did align, and that's what happens. The tire burnt out down to the metal, and the metal produced the spark.